Today, I will take you to that historic morning when Maharana Pratap, for his motherland, went to confront Akbar's vast army. What happened in that battle, every moment of which is still etched in the soil of Rajasthan. Who were those warriors whose stories make your blood boil? Friends, watch the video to the end, because what lies ahead is not just a story, but living history. It was a moonlit night on June 17, 1576. Silence hung over the Aravalli Hills. Two massive armies were camped on the banks of the Banas River near Khamnor village. Thousands of torches burned in the Mughal camp. Raja Man Singh sat in his tent contemplating. He knew what the morning would hold. Maharana Pratap was his distant relative, but today they stood face to face as enemies. Man Singh remembered that meeting in 1573 when Akbar had sent him to the Maharana. The Maharana had met him in Udaipur and, according to Rajput tradition, had also honored him. But when it came to food, the Maharana sent his son Amar Singh. It was a direct message. You accepted the Mughal treaty? I cannot eat with you. Man Singh was pained that day, but he also understood that Maharana Pratap would never bow. Meanwhile, Maharana Pratap's camp was in Losing village, just 12 miles from Khamnor. In the darkness of the night, the Maharana was moving among his soldiers. His tall frame, about 7.5 feet, was visible, even in the darkness. The Maharana's voice echoed among the warriors. Tomorrow morning will make history. We are few in number, but we have a resolve to protect our motherland. We will fight, and if we have to die, we will die. One of the warriors sitting around him stood up, Hakim Khan, a descendant of Sher Shah Suri, whose kingdom had been usurped by Akbar's father Humayun. Today he had come to fight on behalf of Mewar, seeking revenge. Maharaja, Hakim Khan said, tomorrow my sword will not leave my hand. Even if death comes, I promise. A little distance away, King Ramshatan of Gwalior sat with his three sons Shalivahan Singh, Bhavani Singh, and Pratap Singh. All three were beside their father. Father, Shalivahan asked, will we all return? Ram Shah looked at his son. His eyes were watery, but his face held firm. Son, Rajputs don't seek answers to these questions in battle. They simply fulfill their duty. Tomorrow, all three generations of us will fight together, and if we have to die for the Maharana, it will be our good fortune. Rana, Punjabil was on the hills with his warriors. He knew these hills like the back of his hand, every cave, every path, every hiding place. Brothers, Rana Punja said, this is our land. Every rock in these hills knows us. Tomorrow, with our arrows, we will show the Mughals that even pills can sacrifice their lives to defend Mewar. And in the Maharana's tent, Chetak, the blue horse who was the Maharana's companion, stood beside his master. An elephant mask was being placed on his head. It was a trick. If the enemy saw the elephant, they would think it was an elephant too and be confused. The Maharana stroked Chetak's forehead. Chetak said softly, tomorrow, you have to support me completely. You are my brother, you are my companion. Chetak nodded as if he understood. But this war didn't come overnight. It had a 4-year story behind it. In 1572, when Maharana Uday Singh died, Pratap Singh was made the Rana of Gogunda. His father's last wish was that his younger son Jagmal be made the Rana. But the chieftains of Mewar said no. In these difficult times, we need a brave warrior. Pratap must become the Rana. When Maharana Pratap became the Rana, he took a vow. Until Chittor is recaptured, I will not eat from gold or silver utensils. I will eat only from a leaf. I will not sleep on a soft bed. I will only sleep on the ground. I will not shave my beard. And I will not live in the palace. Hearing this, all of Mewar was in a state of shock. Other Rajputana states, Amer, Marwar, and Bikaner, had surrendered to Akbar. But Maharana Pratap stood alone. Akbar learned of this. He thought that if Mewar also surrendered, all of Rajputana would be his. In September 1572, Akbar sent his first envoy, Jalal Khan of Kochi. He was Akbar's trusted confidant. He went to the Maharana and said, "Maharana, Emperor Akbar respects you greatly. You must accept his submission. In return, you will get all of Mewar back, along with other estates." Maharana Pratap listened attentively. Then he said, "Jalal Khan, I respect you, Halak. But tell Akbar that when he attacked Chitor, he killed 300 innocent people, Hitamati-san. He piled up their heads. Can I bow before the man who stained the land of my ancestors with blood? No, never." Jalal Khan returned disappointed. In November 1572, Akbar made a second attempt. In June 1573, he sent Raja Mansingh Adakujin. This was a cunning tactic, sending one Rajput to another. The Maharana met Mansingh. He welcomed him as per Rajput tradition. But when it came time for dinner, the Maharana sent Amar Singh. Akbar made a third attempt. He sent Raja Bhagwan Das, Mansingh's father, but he too failed. In the fourth and final attempt, Akbar sent Raja Todarmal, one of his 9 gems, but the Maharana's response was the same. "I will never accept Akbar's subjugation. This is the tradition of Mewar. We do not bow down. We fight, and if necessary, we die." By early 1576, Akbar realized that peace would achieve nothing. He ordered Raja Mansingh to attack Mewar with 10,000 soldiers. Maharana Pratap heard this news and summoned his chieftains. "Friends," the Maharana said, "the Mughal army is coming. We are far fewer in number. But we have something they don't, a resolve to defend our homeland. We will await them at the Haldighati Pass. The narrow terrain there will negate the advantage of their large army." In 1576, 3 hours before dawn, the Mughal camp was abuzz. Thousands of soldiers were donning their armor. Horses were being prepared and elephants were being decorated. The Mughal army's formation was as follows. At the forefront were 85 scouts led by Sayyid Hashim Barkha. These soldiers would be the first to engage the enemy. Behind them was the advance party, consisting of Rajput warriors led by Jagannath Kachua and Mughal soldiers led by Bakshi Ali Asaf Khan. Then came the reserve party led by Madhav Singh Kachua. In the center, Raja Mansingh himself rode an elephant. His elephant was named Mardana. On the left flank were Mulakazi Khan and Raulong Karan. On the right flank were the Sayyid of Barha, the strongest part of the Mughal army, and behind them, Mehtar Khan's rear guard. Drums were beating as they crossed the river. The ground shook with the beat of the drums. Elephants trumpeted. Horses neighed. The footsteps of thousands of soldiers mingled into a roar. Meanwhile, preparations were underway in the Maharana's camp. But the atmosphere here was different. There was no noise. Instead, there was a solemn silence. Maharana Pratap was donning his armor. His armor weighed 35 kilograms, weighing heavily on his body. But this was normal for him. The Maharana had divided his army into 4 divisions. The vanguard consisted of approximately 800 warriors, led by Hakim Kansur. He was accompanied by Bhim Singh Dodia and Ram Das Rathore, sons of the brave Jayamal. On the right flank, approximately 500 warriors led by Raja Ram Shah Tanwar, accompanied by Bhamasha and Tarachand. On the left flank, approximately 400 warriors led by Chala Singh. In the center, Maharana Pratap himself was in the center, with 1,300 warriors mounted on Chetak, and 400 Beel archers led by Rana Punja on the hills. As the morning sun began to rise, the narrow pass of Haldighati became visible. This pass was about 1.5 miles long. On one side were the high Aravalli hills, and on the other a valley. Todd called it the Thermopylae of Mewar. Just as in Greece, 300 Spartan warriors faced millions of Persians, here the Maharana's warriors were about to face the vast Mughal army. The sun began to rise, and the morning glow turned the sky red, as if nature itself knew what was coming. 3 hours after sunrise, around 8 a.m. suddenly, a roar rang out from the hills of Haldighati, Madusi. Har Har Mahadev. Maharana Pratap's army charged. This was completely unexpected for the Mughal army. They thought they would advance and the Rajput army would retreat. But the opposite happened. Hakim Khan Sur with his Afghan warriors was shooting arrows. They advanced like a sniper. They directly attacked Syed Hashim Barha's scouts. The clash was so fierce that the scouts immediately fled, falling back into their own main army, causing widespread confusion. Barayuni, who was present at the battle, writes that the uneven terrain, thorns, and steep paths caused great confusion between the advance guard and the main army, and they were completely defeated. Rana Punja's Bill warriors were raining arrows from the hills, each arrow hitting its target. The Mughal soldiers were unable to discern where the attack was coming from. Hakim Khan Sur said that vanward guard was tearing through the Mughal army. He was accompanied by Ramdas Rathore and Bhim Singh Dodia. They were advancing, breaking the Mughal left flank. This attack completely shattered the Mughal left flank. The Rajput soldiers, led by Rawat Lunkaran, who were fighting on the Mughal side, began to flee. Barayuni writes that the Rajputs of our army, led by the Rawalun soldiers who were fled like a flock of sheep, breaking through the advance lines and fleeing to the right flank. A dire situation now arose. Barayuni and Asaf Khan were standing behind. Before them, the Rajputs of Mewar and those of the Mughal side were engaged. Barayuni asked Asaf, quote, "How will we now distinguish who is the enemy Rajput and who is our own?" Asaf Khan replied, quote, "Keep shooting arrows. No matter which side's Rajputs die, it will be good for Islam." And he began shooting arrows at his own Rajput soldiers. This first attack drove the Mughal army back 5 to 7 kos. They reached the Banas River. Maharana Pratap was advancing on Chetak. His sword was red with blood. With each blow, a Mughal soldier fell to the ground. Raja Ram Shah Tambar and his 3 sons were wreaking havoc on the right flank. Barayuni later wrote, "I saw a warrior who left the elephant battle and entered the heart of the Mughal army and wreaked terrible carnage." Ram Shah, who was always with Rana, he fought in the vanguard of the Mughal army. He displayed bravery beyond words. Abul Fazl wrote in his Akbarnama, "Two seas of blood collided. The burning waves turned the soil red. But the Sayyid Baraha, the right flank of the Mughal army, held firm. He allowed time for Madhav Singh's reserve force to arrive. And then suddenly, a rumor spread across the battlefield. Akbar had arrived. Emperor Akbar himself had brought more troops. This was a lie, but it had an impact. The morale of the Mughal soldiers was restored. Madhav Singh's reserve force jumped into the fray. The tide of the battle began to change. The Maharana's cavalry slowed down. It became a series of sword fights. And then began the terrifying battle that would become known as the Blood Pool. Hakim Khan Sur, along with his Afghan warriors, wreaked havoc on the Mughal army. His sword never stopped for a moment. But then, a Mughal chieftain attacked Hakim Khan from behind. With a single blow, he was beheaded. What happened next became immortal in history. Hakim Khan Sur's headless torso continued fighting on a horse. Sword in hand, the torso continued killing Mughal soldiers for the next 5 kilometers. The Mughal soldiers screamed in fear. What was this? How was this possible? Finally, the torso fell into the Rakht Talai. Hakim Khan Sur had kept his promise. "I will not let go of my sword, even if death comes." His body was buried in the Rakht Talai, while his head was buried 5 kilometers away in Kamnor. Now the Maharana ordered his elephants to fight. 2 huge elephants, Luna and Ramprasad, charged into the Mughal army. The Mughal elephant Gajmukta clashed with Luna. A fierce battle ensued between the 2 elephants. Finally, Gajmukta, wounded, retreated. But then Mughal archers began targeting the Mahouts. Luna's Mahout was hit by an arrow. The injured Mahout somehow managed to call Luna back. Ramprasad was still fighting, but his Mahout was also struck by an arrow. Ramprasad was captured by the Mughals without his Mahout. The Mughal soldiers were delighted. They imprisoned Ram Prasad and provided him with food and water. But this valiant elephant, which had fought for its Maharana, refused to accept food or water from the enemy. He remained hungry and thirsty, and after a few days, this loyal elephant gave up its life. Such was the spirit of loyalty of Mewar, even animals were so loyal to their masters. The battle was at its peak. Dust billowed everywhere, swords clanged, and blood flowed. Then suddenly, through the dust, Maharana Pratap rode Chetak toward Raja Man Singh. Man Singh was seated on a huge elephant Mardana. Chetak wore an elephant mask on his head. This loyal horse displayed incredible courage. Chetak placed both his front legs on the elephant's trunk. The scene was a sight to behold. A horse was grappling with a huge elephant. Maharana Pratap threw his heavy spear toward Man Singh. Time seemed to slow down. The spear pierced the air and headed towards Man Singh. Man Singh saved his life by ducking into his howdah in time. The spear struck the steel of the howdah, killing his mahout. Meanwhile, a sword stuck in the elephant's trunk, deeply wounded Chetak's hind leg. Chetak was wounded, blood gushing from his hind leg. But this loyal horse refused to abandon his master. The Maharana understood that he had to retreat. The Mughal army had surrounded him from all sides. Raja Ram Shah Tanwar and his 3 sons, Shalivahan, Bhavani Pratap, and his 16-year-old grandson, Balbhadra Singh, were now martyred. 4 generations had made a joint sacrifice. 300 Tomar Rajputs had fallen with them. Their umbrellas remain in the blood pool even today. Maharana Pratap was now wounded, his body riddled with wounds from arrows and spears. Chetak was also badly injured. Just then, Jalaman Singh rushed to the Maharana and snatched his royal umbrella. He then placed it on his own head and said, "Your Majesty, please leave this place. Mewar, you are needed. I will fight in your place." The Maharana said, "No, Jala, this is my battle." But Jalaman Singh insisted, "Maharaj, if something happens to you, what will happen to Mewar? You must leave." Jalaman Singh, claiming to be Maharana Pratap, charged towards the Mughal army. 350 Raj warriors joined him, all chanting the same slogan, "Jai Mewar." The Mughal army surrounded Jalaman Singh, thinking he was Maharana Pratap. After a fierce battle, Jalaman Singh and 350 warriors were martyred. Meanwhile, the wounded Chetak was leaving the battlefield carrying his master. The Mughal army was pursuing the Maharana, but Chetak still carried his master. His hind leg was bleeding, but he did not stop. Ahead was a stream of the Banaz River, 21 feet wide. Even under normal circumstances, crossing this stream was difficult, and now Chetak's hind leg was injured. But Chetak accomplished the impossible for his master. That loyal horse with its, despite a deep wound in his hind leg, Chetak strained on 3 legs and made an incredible leap. 21 feet. Chetak carried the Maharana across the river. The pursuing Mughal soldiers were astonished by this miracle, their horses couldn't cross such a wide stream. They had to stay behind. Chetak had saved his master, but now Chetak's strength was fading. He somehow carried the Maharana forward. Reaching a hill near the village of Balicha, Chetak stopped. His legs faltered. The Maharana dismounted. Chetak looked at his master, as if saying one last time, "I have kept my word, master." Then that faithful horse, that brave Chetak, fell to the ground and breathed his last. Maharana Pratap sat beside his beloved companion, tears streaming from his eyes. Chetak cried, "You saved me by sacrificing your life. You were my brother. You were my companion. I will never forget you." The sky wept, and it began to rain. As if nature, you too, are mourning the sacrifice of this brave horse. Today, the Chetak Samadhi stands at that spot. Every year, thousands of people visit to pay homage to this valiant horse. The battle at Raktala was coming to an end. It lasted for 4 hours. This terrible struggle finally ended. When the dust settled, the scene of the battle was terrifying. The entire Raktalai, Its name, truly worthy, was red with blood. Rainwater and blood combined to form a red pond. 1,600 warriors of Mewar were martyred. Thousands of Mughal soldiers were killed. The yellow soil of Haldighati had now turned red. Even today, people say that the soil there bears a red imprint, a mark of the blood of those brave warriors. The Mughal army captured the battlefield. But their objective was not achieved, to capture or kill Maharana Pratap. They failed. Friends, this was the story of the Battle of Haldighati. It was not just a war. It was a fight for self-respect. It was a story of defending the motherland. Whether Maharana Pratap won or lost, this debate has no meaning. No, because the real victory was that they never surrendered. Raktalai still exists. Chedik Samadhi still exists. And the yellow soil of Haldighati, which still bears a red mark still, tells the story of those brave warriors who gave everything for their motherland. Maharana Pratap, Chetak, Hakim Khan, Sur, Jhalaman Singh, Ramshah, Tanwar, Rana Punjab, Bhamasha, these names are immortal. Because those who fight for their motherland, who never surrender, never die, they live forever in the pages of history. Jai Mewar, Jai Maharana Pratap. If you liked the video, please share your thoughts in the comments. Which moment was the most exciting and emotional? Don't forget to like the video so that this saga of bravery reaches more people. And yes, be sure to subscribe to the channel, so we'll see you again in the next episode.